Hello guys, this is Jan from Kroscloud, and in this tutorial I'm gonna show you one of the most exciting features of Kroscloud, the layers. Layers allow you to switch visibility of individual items in your 3D file so user can display its different parts at a time. Let's take a look at just a few use cases. As a first example, you can see a 3D scene with Primda castle ruins here. Primda is one of the oldest stone castles in the Middle Europe and also a very good pronouncing exercise, I would say. Now you can see how the castle looks in the present. But let's take a look at the layer icon up there. As you can see, you can switch to 16th century. Let's go back to present. You don't have to switch the layer only by selecting it in the Layers dropdown. And this is my favorite feature. If you long press the left mouse button or make a long touch gesture on mobile, a layer is dynamically switched and displayed as long as you hold the mouse button or touch. When you release it, layer is switched back. This way you can effectively compare the different states of your object. Let's jump to another use case. Here you can see a part of Czechoslovak pillbox fortress from the beginning of the Second World War. Let's explore it. If you click on the Layers button, you can see there are two more, ground plans in this case. First one is the main, also called battle floor, and the second one is maintenance floor. You can see that each layer has its own set of points of interest. Panoramic points in this case. So user can jump to a 360 image of the inner area to look around. Unfortunately, we don't have panoramic images from the inside of this pillbox, so let's use another ones, but I'm sure you will get the point. You can imagine all the endless possibilities and use cases this feature allows. In the second part of this tutorial, let's create such a scene by ourselves, so you can see how easy it is. In this tutorial, I expect you have created your account already, and you are familiar with the basic concepts of Kroscloud. If not, take a look at our first steps tutorial. Okay, we are gonna recreate the second scene I showed you, the pillbox with two ground plans and some panoramic points of interest. So we are in Blender, and let's open the 3D file for this scene. Let's go to import, and as we have it in GLB, let's import the GLB file. Let's turn on the textures. And you can see that all the layers are here in one single 3D file. Right there, you can see the names of the individual items that's gonna create our layers later. They are not really user-friendly now, so let's rename them to easily identify them later. As based on these names, you will create the layers in Kroscloud editor. The first item is the bottom, also called maintenance floor. So let's rename it to something like this. This name is only for us, it's not gonna be visible to users, so you don't have to overthink it. It's just only for us to easily see what is what. This is the battle floor, and this is the main model. So let's call it pillbox. If you worry about how to create such a scene in Blender at first place, I'm not gonna talk about it in this tutorial as it's kinda out of scope, but there will be a separate tutorial focused only at this topic. Okay, that's it for Blender. Let's just export our scene with all the layers into GLB file, and let's jump to Kroscloud to create some magic. Here is our 3D scene, freshly uploaded to Kroscloud, and let's focus on the layers. So let's open the layers menu and create or add new layer. This one is gonna be the main part, the pillbox itself. This part is very important. As you can see in this tree view, there are individual items from our 3D file with the names we changed in Blender. Here you can select what items we want to hide in our layer. Important thing, I'm gonna say it again, to hide. So as we want to display only the pillbox with this layer, I'm gonna select and check both ground plans. because we want to hide them here. If we would have created some points of interest, we would have them here with an option to select what points we want to display with this layer. As we haven't created any points yet, it's blank. Okay, let's create. We have our first layer and our scene in the editor has changed. We can see only the pillbox now without the ground plans. And there is a new toolbox where you can set what layer you want to see at the moment in the editor, or choose to display all the items without any layer applied. Okay, let's add the second layer, the bottle floor ground plan. This time we're gonna hide the second floor and the main pillbox. The pillbox item also has some child items. These nodes represent each texture and you could actually hide only the selected textures. But in this case it doesn't make sense. And I actually can't find a good use case to hide only the selected textures, but who knows. Just don't be confused about it. Important is to check only the parent item. It's gonna hide all its childs. Okay, create. And the last one, maintenance floor. And that's it. We have all our layers. Now to the layers in general. The first layer is always used as a default one. It means the one that's loaded as the first. If you want to reorder the layers, just easily drag and drop them like this. Now the scene will be loaded with the bottle floor as a default layer. Let's try it. But we don't want this, so make the pillbox default one again. Layers can have its default cameras in the same way as the info points. It means if user display them, camera is automatically set to the saved position. Let's make a default camera for both ground planes like this. Now, when users select the layer, view is automatically set to the proper position. Dynamic layer. If you want to allow the very cool feature when user can temporarily switch layer on long mouse click or long touch, you need to mark one layer as a dynamic. Then this layer will be switched with the current layer. Dynamic layer can't be the default one, the first one, as you can see here, as set as dynamic is disabled. Let's make the second layer, the bottle floor ground plan, as dynamic. And let's try it. Now, when user long press left mouse button or make a long touch gesture on mobile, layer is switched to the one marked as dynamic, in this case the bottle floor. If the dynamic layer is the active one, then it's switched with the default layer. One important thing, if you reorder the layers or delete some, you need to set the dynamic layer again. We have our layers there and set up, so let's go add some points of interest for them. This is not a tutorial about points of interest, so if you want to learn more about them, go for points of interest tutorial. Here we will just explore options regarding layers. We will add 2 panoramic points for the pillbox layer and 2 pano points for the bottle floor layer, but they will reference the very same panoramic scenes. Let's go for it. You can see that there is an option to select only a particular layer, where we want our new point to appear. For this one, let's select only pillbox. And make the icon size large. And the second one. Let's rearrange them. and add some anchor points, as these panels should simulate indoor scenes. Okay, I think it's good. Now let's switch to the battle floor and add 2 points referencing the same panoramic scenes as the first two, just from different points of interest and from a different layer. That's it, all work done. Let's explore it in the public viewer. Well, just set a panel background as the very last step, as I don't like the white one. You can see Pillbox is our default layer with 2 panoramic points. If user makes a long click, there is a dynamic layer. And if users switch the layer permanently to battle floor, there are 2 unique points of interest and default camera position. This all is just a really small example of what can be done using this unique feature. You can for sure think of many other use cases, from real estate to education and to many other areas where users will get a completely new experience. Thanks a lot for watching. If you have any question, write down a comment or use our contact page at kroscloud.com, and stay tuned.